I met a gypsy.
Well, I guess it's just. I mean, I just don't. I guess I don't know the things that happened early in your life that made you. Like, I'm interested. Like, I love the dude you are now. Like, I really enjoy any time that we get together. You know, you're a unique and a very cool individual. It's like, what happened?
What happened?
You know what I mean? Like,
you were such a dick.
No. What happened early? Like, because I've spent a lot of time looking at the things that happened in my past that created personality traits that are great and not so great. And, you know, so it's like, with the time that you've put in, like, when you look back, like, what were the things that shaped that person, and then that person that you know, like you said, that had the marriage failure and that was so competitive and so ego driven, that there was something that created that dude, and then there was the injuries and the living alone and everything that you've been through that created like this guy. So it's like, when you go back, what do you think about those early years?
I would just say the early years, I was just, you know, some people are just born a certain way.
Yeah.
And I'm just born this way. I don't have to get myself out of bed every day.
Yeah.
I just get out of bed. I don't have to will myself to heal. I just fucking heal. I don't have to convince myself to be motivated. I'm just motivated. I don't have to try to be happy. I'm just joyful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is just natural for me. So to have that, you know, that I guess that focus or whatever, that's happened from the get-go, because when I played soccer, even when I was a kid, I'm going to be a professional soccer player. Then I played football because I could hit people and not get in trouble. You know, I'm going to be a professional football player. Then I found motocross. Ooh, I'm going to be a professional motocrosser. Because that's it. It's just I put something in my mind, done. Get out of my way, move over. This is what I'm going to do. And it's pretty simple because I love the process. I'm not focused on the destination. Never focused on the destination. I'm always focused on the process because I love the process. I love the roads. You know, it's even like with a woman. You know, it's not about just. I like the build up. You know, I like the anticipation. I like the waiting. You know what I mean? Not the final act of just having sex. You know, I mean, come on. So that whole thing is fun to me. Is the process of becoming a champion, a process. To building, you know, an off-grid thing, whatever it is. It's just that's kind of my way. It's not always just stuck on the destination, because you'll miss a lot in life when you're always stuck on that.
Well, I think the thing to think about there as well is like, so you, let's say, winning a championship. Yeah. You holding a #1 plate on the podium, the fucking AMA dude gives you the plate. That lasts 5 minutes. Yeah. So it's like if you can't enjoy the process. That takes years. Like Hunter Lawrence won his first championship this year. Yeah. At 20-something years old. Yeah. He's been riding and trying for that since he was 5. Yeah. So it's like there's a 20-year process to your point. Yeah. And it's like, if you don't enjoy that process, if you're not going to be happy until you get on the podium, for Hunter that took 20 years. Yeah. So it's like, are you suffering for 20 years to have that 2 minutes of pleasure while you're on the podium having the #1 plate, and then you leave, and then you have to race next weekend. Yeah. And then there's a new series, and then there's a 3-round SMX, and then there's it's just constantly,
it's constantly going.
You know, so I think that there's so much wisdom in what you're saying. Yeah. There.
I think, you know, the thing is that shit, I know I was on something I was going to say, but
about the process.
Yeah, about the process. Shit. Oh well.
That's
usually but whatever.
No, it happens.
Yeah, I kind of lost train of thought there.
I think back in. So, but there was nothing you think that like what was your relationship like?
Yeah. So I guess the biggest thing is my relationship with my parents were great. You know what I mean? I got everything. I don't. So, I think from 15 years old. You know, when I was younger, of course, being a little jerk, whatever. But from 15 years old, I've never had myself and my mom have never raised our voice at each other, ever. You know what I mean? So that made a great relationship. Like my son, I've maybe had 2 arguments with him in my whole life. My daughter, maybe 2, my whole life. You know what I mean? So I'm not that way. I'm a very understanding person, but I'm a very ferocious person. I think I was born very aggressive. You know, when I was younger, I liked to fight everybody and just aggressive. You know, and then my dad died when I was 21, and that I think put a big dent in me because he died in the beginning of the year. So I couldn't really mourn him because I had to race the whole year, and I was the guy who picked to win the Chiefs championships. So it was 1994, and I remember, I was sitting at my mom and dad's house, and my mom and dad came out, and they said, "Hey, we got something to talk to you about." I said, "Oh shit, what do I do now?"
Yeah, that's never
I'm like,
good.
"Oh God, what do I do now?"
Yeah,
Jesus,
yeah.
what girls' parents called?
Yeah.
Or 3 of them, right? And they sat down and said, "Hey, your dad's gonna die." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, your dad went to the hospital and found out that he has colon cancer and it's terminal. It's not like he might die. He's gonna die." And so that went really quick, and I was like 3 months. My dad went from health to dying in 3 months, and so it was a tough time because my dad supported me the whole time, and my dad videoed every single moto I ever raced from the day I started till the day he died.
Wow.
Now I'm talking every moto. We'd go to Ponca City qualifiers, and there'd be 8 motos in a day. He'd video start to finish and work on my bikes. But that's why I feel I progressed so fast. I started racing in 1984. 9 to 11 beginner. 1988, I was 125, 250 pro. 1990, I finished 5th in my first national. So starting racing in a 9 to 11 beginner 80, and 6 years later finishing 5th at your Hangtown National, that's fast.
That's wild.
Yeah, that fast. But I think it's because of me always watching these races. So he was sick, and then I think where were we? I think we were Texas. Yeah, we were at Texas, and I was there with my best friend. And after I raced, I don't know how I did. I forget how I did. It was a pretty tough time. And then after the race, we got in the car, and he said, "Hey, man, there's something I got to tell you."
Oh, good man. Take time.
Yeah, just your dad died while you were racing. So, shit, and it's you're 50 years old, and it's been 25 years or whatever, but
oh man, there's no way that's ever easy.
It's not having a dad your whole life.
Yeah.
It's like I never got, and that's the kind of thing is I never had anybody to ask questions to.
Yeah.
I never say, "Is this normal? What do I do? Did you have to deal with this?" I never. Everything that I've ever done in my life is me. I've never reached out to a psychologist or anything like that. All my paralyzations, I never went to PT. I've done it all myself. I don't look for help. I can do this. You know what I mean? I can do this. I like people. I need some parts of my life where need to be soothed and stuff like that. From that feminine energy. But other than that, I feel that. Yeah. So that was, that was tough. And again, like I was saying, I never got time to mourn it. And so this is why I feel that I deal with more of it a little bit now.
Yeah.
Because now I have time to process that.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's ever going to be any time that, something like that doesn't make you sad. You know what I mean? Just,
no way.
Because I don't think about it. And it's not that I'm sad. It just sometimes it just hits you.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting to be hit because I've talked about it many times, but just, sometimes. So that, and then also injury, just injury like I did. And it just makes you fucking tough, man.
Dude, no.
It'll cripple you, like meaning take you away, or it makes you so fucking tough that you're not afraid of anything, and that's what it did to me. Pain. Really? So, but it softened me up, because you go back to the championships and everybody's like, "Man, don't you bum that you didn't win a championship?" I'm like, "Yeah, it is. I fought and I came very close to a lot of them, but just, it wasn't in my books. It wasn't in my cards." But let's say, Ricky Carm or Jeremy McGrath, you have to come to my house, walk in this special room to see my number 1 plates and all this. Okay. Well, I don't have these number 1 plates, but I feel I have probably the biggest, almost the biggest trophy case of experience. And now I'm able to take this trophy case and share it. Because back to one of your other things I was going to say is that, I always share because we care. If you don't care, you don't share, man. And this is why you see me sharing so much. I share my life. I share my experiences. I share my bads. I share my wisdom. I share everything that I could be making money on because I fucking care, man. I care.
I think that comes across too.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I care about the sport, and I care about people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd much rather die broke and care about people than die rich and not care for a single person. You know what I mean? That's very selfish.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've been selfish in my life, you know, especially marriage and stuff like that. And I had a good marriage. You know, 24 years we were together. 24 years, man. You know?
That's so gnarly. 24
years, and we loved each other. It just was a point that, you know, life, God, Spirit wanted us to break apart so then we could become our true selves. Because I couldn't imagine me still being that person. And there's no way that I'd be this person if I didn't have that grenade put in my life and just blew it up. You know what I mean? I mean, the things that, like, people don't realize, like, when I came off the road. So, you know, this is how I work. So, when we were going through all this shit, and I was so pissed and this and that, I said, look, I go, to get married to you? I said, I do. Today? I said, I fucking don't. And I left. And I never came back. And I went on a 9-week journey. I did every stop for a week. And I did schools and stuff. 1 year I traveled 150,000 miles traveling, just doing schools. It was insane. So I went to Australia for a week, New Zealand for a week.
I remember that.
Yeah. Spain for a week, South Africa, Bali, back to New Zealand, Argentina, and then Peru, and then flew home on Christmas. And so when I flew home, we sold my house. My kids were moved out and this and that. So I went home and to get, you know, because it was getting sold, and I opened the door and it echoed. And this was one of the saddest days of my life. You know what I mean? And these sad days, these times was what softens me. You know, so saddest day, I walked through there and I went down the hallway and I looked in my daughter's room and it was fucking empty. Dude, I fell to my knees, man, and just cried. It was the saddest thing because it's like, this, you know, I'm probably never going to stay in the same room or same house with her again. You know, coming these realizations, you know, it's tough. And, you know, and I think the toughest guys have the softest hearts. That's why they're so fucking tough. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because they're willing to accept defeat. They're willing to be punished. They're willing to be hurt, if that makes sense. Yeah. Right. And, so some of these things, you know, just, sharpen you up, you know, harden you, wisen you up a little bit. And, you know, I think that. So I'd much rather have a life of experience than a life of championships. Because someone has to come to this special room that probably has dust.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.